Being a standard character, Soldier 11 is not only often overshadowed by other fire units such as Evelyn or even Bernice, but also very underestimated. While other standard S-ranks have been left behind by the lack of either synergies or new supports, Soldier 11 has not only gotten better with the release of Lighter all the way back in November last year, but now she got yet another shiny toy to play with in the form of Ju Fufu. And hence, it is time for an updated guide on Soldier 11. So let's talk about her kit and how she plays, her best weapons, disk drives and disk drive sets, her combos, her main and substats, her teams and Mindscapes, and lastly, let's also talk about her pros and cons. Welcome! I am Rivenous and this is your complete updated guide to Soldier 11. Soldier 11 is a fire-type attack agent who specializes in enhanced fire-infused basic attacks to decimate her enemies. Fortunately for us, her kit is rather simple, so let's talk about how she plays. Soldier 11's playstyle is built around her unique mechanic called fire suppression. While her normal 4 basic attack string only deals physical damage, pressing her basic attack at the right time will have her cast her enhanced basics instead. These basics are called fire suppression and we will talk more about them during the combo section. Fire suppression can however also be obtained through other and frankly easier means, namely her EX special, ultimate and chain attack. After using any of these, the next 8 basic or dash attacks will be enhanced and hence used under fire suppression. This buff lasts for a maximum of 15 seconds, but to be honest, usually you have used it up before then. Her EX special costs 80 energy and while it does deal a great amount of damage, she has one of the highest energy costs we have in the game, which means an effective usage of her skill here is key to success. Her EX also has a pretty long iframe and hence invulnerability window, but more on that later during the combo section. Her ultimate has also one of the highest damage multipliers in the game, quite literally actually she is only outclassed by Miyabi and Hugo, and the latter only because Totalize is a thing. Her chain, assist follow-up and dodge counter all do what they are supposed to do. Although I should mention that her damage and daze multipliers on her assist follow-up and dodge counter are ridiculously high as well, and that also means we still want to use them. Her core passive grants her up to 70% damage bonus on her fire suppression attacks, and her additional core grants her an additional 10% fire damage bonus, increased to 32.5% when attacking stunned enemies, and she requires either an Obol squad or fire type agent to make use of this. And that honestly already covers her kit. But in simplicity also lies strength, so let's summarize how she plays out in practice. Outside of the stun window, we mostly want to basic attack and make sure to trigger fire suppression either manually by timing her basic attacks correctly or by using her EX special. We can also use her EX special iframes against specific enemy mechanics such as Pompey's block. We want to make sure to use her dodge counter against red flashes and parry against yellow flashes, and during the stun window we want to use her chain attack, ultimate, EX special and as many fire suppression basic attacks as we can. Because a large portion of her damage lies in basics, EX special and chain, we want to prioritize our skill priority as such. Which means first and foremost we level her core skill and basics, then EX special and chain, and lastly dodge and assist. Let's continue with her combos. Triggering Soldier 11's fire suppression manually is actually not that hard, but you cannot simply spam left click. You have to wait for the end of each animation, then press left click once that animation appears. Clicking too early, too late, or simply spamming left click will not result in a fire suppression basic attack. While it is not too complicated, you might want to practice this a bit in the VR tool, and it also is harder to do this in an actual fight compared to, just practicing it in VR. After using her EX special, we can simply follow this up with up to 8 basic attacks, but truthfully, you will need to interrupt this combo in a real scenario as you will be forced to either dodge or parry. Speaking of parries, let's talk about Pompey. After jumping, Pompey might enter his parry stance. We can utilize Soldier 11's EX special and the invulnerability iframe it brings to deal damage while avoiding the counter damage. He will also directly follow up the parry with a swipe, which we can avoid using a dodge counter. Triggering an anomaly will also interrupt the enemy's current action, which means if the EX special happens to trigger a burn, he will not follow up with his swipe attack. As for her stun combo, we have a few possible variations and all of them become much easier when using Lighter. Without Lighter, however, we have 3 seconds less, so we want to be as efficient as possible. Trigger the chain using an ally and chain into Soldier 11. Then we cancel the chain and go for 4 basic attacks. We want to swap cancel the 4th basic as early as possible without losing too much damage, depending on how quick our other agent is able to re-trigger the chain. This will largely depend on your team. Next we chain again with Soldier 11 into 4 more basics and we want to interrupt the 4th basic with her ultimate. Interrupting too early will lose us a bit of damage and interrupting too late will lose us even more damage as well. Finding the right timing here is honestly pretty tricky, but I would advise interrupting her basic 4 rather a little bit too early than too late. After her ultimate, we follow up with 4 more basics into an EX special. This is extremely close in terms of timing, and since her EX special does more damage than her basic 4, we are better off interrupting the aforementioned basic 4 with her ultimate rather earlier than later. If you have Lighter, this timing is much more lenient and we can simply do the full basic 4 before using her ultimate. If you have to happen her Mindscape 1 however, we can actually go for a double EX combo every other stun window. This one requires manual chain as well as a very good energy management. We are looking at a maximum of 100 energy when entering the stun window. She will generate up to 8.4 energy over the first 7 seconds, then another 11 from her basic attack string. If you have more than 100 energy, you risk not triggering her Mindscape 1. If you are able to do so however, we are opening the stun window with a chain into basic 1, 2, 3 and 4, then cast her EX special and swap cancel the EX special. Retrigger the chain into another Soldier 11 chain, which we directly follow up with her ultimate. Then we finish the stun window with 4 basic attacks and a second EX special. Next up are her weapons. You probably skipped up until here anyway, so welcome back. Unfortunately for me, YouTube values average watch time a lot and you skipping here contributes to this video being pushed out to less people. But that is okay, you can just leave a like and a comment right now to make up for it. Dumb jokes aside, thank you very much for watching, it really is much appreciated. Onto her weapons. With Evelyn's release, Soldier 11 got access to a new weapon in Heartstring Nocturne. Not only is it a massive stat stick, given her high ultimate damage multiplier, she can actually also make use of the passive as well. Her signature weapon, Brimstone, however, is not much behind, and with hopefully everybody having one Brimstone by now, you are honestly pretty good to go. Other great options include Sanchen, Severed Innocence, and honestly any crit stat stick does fairly well for her. Basically just choose the best of what you have available. As for her disk drive set, Soldier 11 has gotten access to new sets to play with. While a 4-piece Inferno could in theory win out against a 4-piece Woodpecker, 100% uptime is highly unlikely even in a mono fire team. This makes Woodpecker her generally best in slot choice, but since that domain is horrible to farm, you might not have a full 4-piece set. Another, less optimal option includes a 4-piece Shadows Harmony, and while you can use fire suppression on her dash attacks to maintain a full 12% combat attack and crit rate from the set, her dash attack is not followed up by anything meaningful, but instead with her basic 1, which means this is the best case scenario calculated, which makes this not only a little bit annoying but also not necessarily realistic. If you are up for that sweat however, it is an option. As for her 2-piece options, a 2-piece Puffer Electro is her best choice, but either a 2-piece Astral Voice, Hormone Punk, Branch and Blade Song or even Inferno Metal do their job as well. If you play without Lighter or Ju Fufu, a 2-piece Branch and Blade can be about even, if not even slightly ahead of a 2-piece Puffer, and other options such as Inferno and Astral Voice become much closer as well. Although it already was very close before, means regardless of your team, Choose whatever has the better substats. For her main stats, crit rate or crit damage in slot 4, pen ratio in slot 5 and attack percent in slot 6 are her best choices, but depending on your team, weapon and substats, other options such as attack percent or even fire damage in slot 5 can do their job as well. I would not necessarily recommend fire damage in slot 5 due to her kit already providing a lot of it, and with her best teammates in Lighter and Ju Fufu giving her even more, it falls a bit behind in comparison, but it still works well enough. As for substats, we want to prioritize crit values over attack percent, then flat pen, and lastly flat attack. If you're using Brimstone, both attack percent and flat attack become a bit more valuable, but we still want to fish for crit substats first and foremost. Let's cover quickly her Mindscapes before we talk about her teams. Our Mindscape 1 is not only a pretty good quality of life, it also essentially grants you one free EX special every 50 seconds, which results in about 3 additional EX specials over the course of one Deadly Assault run. It also allows for a double EX stun rotation every second stun window as already mentioned before, but funnily enough however, front-loading damage and daze is much better in Geo defense, and due to her high daze and damage multipliers on her EX, this Mindscape is actually better in Geo than it is in Deadly Assault. Her Mindscape 2 grants her even more damage bonus, up to 36% in fact, and if you already didn't run pen ratio up in slot 5 up until now, you'd better start looking for a piece by now. This Mindscape is also better outside of Lighter and Ju Fufu teams due to the damage bonus saturation these two provide, and hence its actual value will change depending on your rotation and team. Her M3 and M5 exist, and her M4 essentially gives her more iframes and damage reduction. Unfortunately, it does not give us more damage though. And lastly, her M6 now grants her 25% fire resistance threat on her basic attacks when enhanced throughout her EX special, chain or ultimate. Overall a fair damage gain, but nothing too crazy either. It's after all a standard S-rank Mindscape. With the release of both Lighter and Ju Fufu, Soldier 11 got many great team options by now, and while Lighter and Ju Fufu are in theory pretty close to each other, the simple 3-second stun extension provided by Lighter makes him just a little bit of a better choice. However, this is with Astra, and even a double stun composition with Lighter and Ju Fufu works out extremely well, which allows us to free Astra for other teams. If you have neither of those, a free-to-play team option such as Collider or Pulchra and Lucy or Caesar work as well, but they fall behind massively in comparison. I also haven't really done any crit burners propaganda recently, so if you are into that, Bernice provides enough anomaly build-up to be able to consistently run a 4-piece Inferno Metal on both Soldier and Bernice. The wheelchair core of Astra and Nicole can carry any unit in the game, and that is just as true for Soldier 11 as well. Trigger is another great pair for Soldier and allows for off-field days while also providing a damage increase simply by existing. Generally speaking however, Electric and Fire do usually not pair that well, but that doesn't necessarily make this useless, it's in fact a pretty good team. Overall, Soldier did profit a lot from the release of various units over the last year, and with that we also have our first pro, which means it is that time again. Let's finish the video with the pros and cons. Aside from being heavily boosted in viability through Lighter, Astra and Ju Fufu, the release of Deadly Assault also constantly asks for fire DPS and Pompeii, and unless you have Eve or Bernice, Soldier is really a great option here. She also has a variety of weapon choices and a few viable disc drive sets to choose from, although there is a clear winner. With more O-Bolt squad units releasing in the future, we might also see yet another further boost towards her, although I might just be coping with this one. While she isn't the best choice for a DPS, she is essentially free due to by now 2 possible selectors, has reasonably enough good Mindscapes in her M2 and M6, and can perform reasonably well enough to clear all endgame content comfortably. She is however pretty reliant on Lighter and Ju Fufu if you are looking at great clear times or great scores. And with that we are at the end of the video. Before I leave you with the showcase, check out my Ju Fufu team video for more information on how she fares with her and Lighter. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thanks to my Patreon members, I appreciate all of you. I wish you a great day. Peace.
da da